Hi, this is Erica Johnson. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of the Journey Mappers podcast. We are interviewing a student by the name of Bao Nguyen, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his internship experience and how he got there. Hi, Bao.
Hey, Erica.
Thanks for joining us today. Could you tell us a little bit about your experience here at Oakland University?
Yeah, so currently I'm a student at Oakland University as a senior, and I am double majoring in electrical and computer engineering.
Okay, and what made you want to pursue that as a major?
Growing up, I was always the computer repair kid in the neighborhood that people were always asking to help fix their computers. So that was my first introduction into working with electronics. And then from there, I slowly evolved into working with just smaller electronics and cars, modifying car radios when I was in high school. And from there, I just decided to pursue engineering, specifically the electrical and computer kind.
I know that you're interning currently. Could you tell us a little bit about your internship and what that entails?
Yeah, so I am currently an engineering technician intern at Bosch, where I am part of the technician team that is in charge of setting up, maintaining, and tearing down a lot of the validation testing on car parts. And there I was able to learn a lot about the engineering process of validation, how engineering products are designed, and what the engineers take into consideration when designing a part for a car.
Awesome. So could you tell us a little bit about your personal journey and what led you to this internship specifically, and what do you hope to achieve while you're there?
I started looking for an internship in my sophomore year, and from there I was able to find this intern position at Bosch. And my long-term goal for right now for Bosch is to work up the experience and time there to be able to gain a full-time position at Bosch.
So I know we talked about some of the challenges that you faced on your journey to your internship. Can you tell us, how has your internship experience changed your perspective on the industry as well as your field of study?
I feel like it's very easy to think that engineering is all about who can come up with the best, coolest innovations. But my experience at Bosch led me to understand the idea that the hardest part about engineering is just the time, because no one has an infinite amount of time in the road, where you have to always consider that the time needed for design, development, and production. So that's why there's so many restraints on the amount of products and even the quality of products coming out today.
And I feel like that's such an interesting point because, like, when I think of like Apple or when I think of like Samsung, like they're always in that like competition to have the best or most innovative project within the very fast period or the shortest period of time. And so that makes a lot of sense. It's like, how do you hurry up and get that product out there for the mass to see and buy and purchase and then be already moving on to the next thing? So that is such a really interesting thing to think about. So could you tell us, like, what are some resources and tools that you found particularly helpful in learning more about your role or the company that you're currently at?
The best resource I had to go by was my coworkers, because a lot of my coworkers have been at the company or just been in the industry for a long time. So they were able to give me a lot of background and a lot of almost like historical lectures about certain car parts or products, or even just a line of products and how it changed over time and the improvements or even the mistakes they made and how they learned from it in the future.
Nice. I feel like it's always like really awesome to have like that support, like considering not everybody has that. And so the fact that they were able to support you in that way sounds amazing. Can you describe a situation where you took a risk or tried something outside of your comfort zone?
I have a really good answer, but it's not exactly internship related. It's more engineering related. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was invited to be a robotics judge for an elementary school ran by the FIRST organization. And it was really interesting because it was these elementary school children given the opportunity to use their creativity to find ways to solve this obstacle course just using Legos. And I was invited to be a judge on there. And it was a very different thing I've done because I've never really worked well with kids. I always get very awkward around them and I don't really know what to say. But the idea that I was able to be a judge and I was able to open up a lot more, and because we all had the same passion of engineering, it was something that I would definitely do again when it comes up in the future.
That's exciting. I'm pretty sure the kids were like just as excited to have you there as their judge too.
Oh, that's too nice to say.
So what skills and strengths have you found most valuable in your internship, and how do you leverage them?
I think my greatest strength is just the idea that I get very curious on how things are done. I've been told time and time again that the best quality that I have is the fact that I ask so many questions. But the reason I ask so many questions, it's just because I'm curious on not just what they're doing, but why are they doing it this way, and why has the industry or even the standard revolve around this exact method.
Yeah, that's deep. And it's like if people didn't ask questions, then
Mm-hmm.
how would we even have like new innovations to begin with? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody didn't ask, like there has to be a easier way to transport to A to Z, then I feel like we wouldn't have cars. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's such a deep concept.
One of my favorite quotes is from Henry Ford when his quote specifically was, if we were to ask people what they wanted, they would have just said faster horses.
That's true. That's a good one, actually. I never thought of that, but I feel like that's what's so beautiful about like just being able to be innovative and
Mm-hmm.
just try new things and kind of put ourselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to any students that are looking to intern on how they can network while they are interning?
The best thing you can do is ask people that you are curious about just what they're doing. A lot of times we can just walk past someone who's doing something interesting and we just think in our head, that's pretty cool, but I don't really know what they're doing. But instead of just asking that, you can just take the initiative and ask, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing right now? Because that looks really interesting. And I've had plenty of conversations that spun off from there, going all the way ranging from the topic of engineering to just the topic of life. And it's a very good way of just networking and meeting other people at your company, even if it's not in your department, in your group, or even in the company. It's just a very good way of meeting new people.
I love that. And I always joke like with students all the time. And when I tell them like I got my first like real job being able to job shuttle because I asked that question like, oh, so what do you do? Or, what is that like? Just
Mm-hmm.
asking that question allowed me to get my foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that is like such a beautiful thing to be able to do. It's just to network in that way and just be curious.
Mm-hmm.
I think people enjoy seeing people that are curious. Well, that pretty much wraps up all the questions that I have for you today. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard them. If you are interested in networking with Bao or just getting connected, feel free to reach out. As well as if you want any more information or insight, feel free to go to our Current Life Design page at the Oakland University's website or even stop by the center and we would love to help you out. Thanks again and tune in next time for Journey Mappers.